Sit down. Take a breath. I want to tell you something that took me 50 years to learn. You know that feeling, don't you? That knot in your stomach when things don't go your way. That voice inside your head that screams, "This shouldn't be happening." The traffic jam when you're already late. The rain on your wedding day. The job opportunity that slipped through your fingers. The relationship that ended when you thought it would last forever. I've been there. We've all been there. And for most of my life, I fought against these moments. I clenched my fists. I argued with the universe. I stayed awake at night replaying conversations, thinking, if only I had said this, if only that hadn't happened. I was exhausted. I was miserable. And I was fighting a battle I could never win. Then one day, sitting in a small room with nothing but a book written nearly 2,000 years ago, I found something. Not a secret, not a magic pill, but a simple truth that changed everything. Today, I want to share that truth with you. Not as a lecture, not as a philosopher talking down to you, but as a friend who wishes someone had told him this decades earlier. Because here's the thing about life, it's going to happen. Whether you like it or not. Whether you're ready or not. The question isn't whether storms will come. The question is whether you'll learn to dance in the rain. Let me tell you about a man named Epictetus. Now, if you've heard that name before, you might think, oh, another old philosopher, what does he know about my life? But trust me, this man knew suffering better than almost anyone who has ever lived. Epictetus was born a slave in ancient Rome around 50 years after Jesus. Think about that for a moment. He didn't own his own body. His time wasn't his own. Someone else decided when he ate, when he slept, when he worked. His leg was deliberately broken by his master. Can you imagine that cruelty? He lived with that pain and disability for the rest of his life. If anyone had the right to be bitter, to be angry, to shake his fist at the heavens and scream, "Why me?" It was this man. But Epictetus discovered something extraordinary. Even in chains, even in pain, even as property, he found something that his master could never touch. He found that while his body might be enslaved, his mind remained utterly, completely free. He later gained his freedom and became one of the most influential teachers in history. Emperors sought his advice. Students traveled thousands of miles to hear him speak. And what did he teach them? He taught them this simple truth. He said, don't seek for everything to happen as you wish it would, but rather wish that everything happens as it actually will. Then your life will flow well. Let me say that again because it's worth hearing twice. Don't demand that life bends to your will. Instead, learn to welcome whatever life brings. That's not weakness. That's the greatest strength there is. I want you to imagine something with me. Picture two doors. Behind the first door is everything you've ever wanted. Exactly as you imagined it. The perfect job. The perfect relationship. The perfect life, going perfectly according to plan. No surprises. No disappointments. No setbacks. Behind the second door is reality. Everything that actually happens. The good, the bad, the beautiful, the painful, the unexpected. The promotion you didn't get. The person who broke your heart. The illness that came out of nowhere. But also the joy you couldn't have planned. The love you didn't expect. The growth that only came through struggle. Most of us spend our entire lives trying to squeeze through the first door. We beat against it with our fists. We cry when it won't open. We convince ourselves that if we just try hard enough, want badly enough, control tightly enough, we can make life bend to our wishes. But here's what I've learned, and here's what Epictetus taught. The first door doesn't exist. It never did. It's a hallucination. It's a ghost we chase while the real life, the actual life, is happening right in front of us. There's a beautiful phrase that came many centuries after Epictetus, from a German philosopher named Nietzsche. He called it Amor Fati, a love of fate, not just acceptance, not just resignation, but actually, genuinely, deeply loving whatever happens. Now, when I first heard this, I thought it was crazy. Love a flat tire? Love a breakup? Love losing my job? That sounds like pretending, like toxic positivity, like lying to yourself. But it's not. It's something much deeper. Let me tell you about a woman named Sarah. Sarah was a lot like you and me. Busy, stressed, always running from one thing to the next. She had a good job, a loving family, but she was constantly fighting against time. One morning, she was driving to the most important presentation of her career. She had prepared for weeks. This was her moment. And then, traffic. Not just traffic, but a complete standstill. A tractor-trailer had overturned 3 miles ahead, and nothing was moving. Sarah did what any of us would do. She gripped the steering wheel. She cursed. She checked her watch every 30 seconds. She called the office, her voice shaking with panic. She felt her entire future slipping away because of something completely beyond her control. 45 minutes later, when the traffic finally cleared and she arrived at the office, she was a wreck. Her heart was pounding. Her hands were trembling. She walked into that presentation frazzled, distracted, and angry. And she bombed it. Not because of the traffic, but because of what the traffic did to her mind. Now, let me tell you a different version of that story. Same Sarah. Same traffic jam. But this time, something shifted. When she saw the cars stopped ahead, she took a breath. She remembered something she had read. Maybe something like what I'm sharing with you today. And she said to herself, "All right, I'm here. This is happening. What can I do with this?" She turned off the engine. She rolled down the window. And for the first time in months, she sat in silence. She watched the clouds move across the sky. She noticed the way the sunlight filtered through the trees. She had a conversation with herself about what really mattered. When she finally arrived at the office late, yes, she was calm. She was present. She walked into that room not as a victim of circumstance, but as a person who had just spent 45 minutes in quiet reflection. And she gave the best presentation of her life. The traffic happened either way. The difference wasn't the event. The difference was her relationship to it. Think about that for a moment. The exact same situation. 2 completely different outcomes. The only thing that changed was inside her mind. This is the power we're talking about. This is what the Stoics discovered 2,000 years ago. You cannot always control what happens to you, but you can always control how you respond. The traffic will come. The delays will come. The disappointments will come. They are not optional. But your peace, your calm, your response, those are always optional. Those always belong to you. Epictetus said something remarkable. He said that it's easy to praise life, to find peace with whatever happens, if you have 2 qualities. The first is a complete view of what has actually happened. Now, this sounds simple, but it's not. Because we never just see what happened. We see what happened plus a whole story we add to it. You don't just see rain. You see rain ruining my day. You don't just see a cancelled flight. You see the universe conspiring against my vacation. You don't just see a disagreement with your partner. You see this relationship is falling apart. We add the story. And the story is almost always worse than the reality. The second quality is gratitude. And here's the thing about gratitude. It's not about pretending everything is wonderful. It's about recognizing that everything contains a gift if you're willing to look for it. Epictetus asked a beautiful question. He said, "Without gratitude, what is the point of seeing?" And without seeing, what is the object of gratitude? He was saying that these two qualities work together. Clear seeing shows you what's really there. And gratitude allows you to receive it, whatever it is. When you can see clearly and feel grateful, nothing can defeat you. Nothing. So how do we actually do this? How do we move from fighting life to loving it? Let me give you 3 practices that have changed my life, and I believe can change yours. First, pause before you react. When something happens that you wish hadn't, and it will probably today, stop. Don't react. Don't clench. Don't scream. Just pause for 3 breaths. In that pause, ask yourself, can I change what just happened? If the answer is no, then ask yourself, then why am I suffering? The event is past. It's done. Your opinion about it, that's the only thing you can change. And changing your opinion is always easier than changing reality. Think about how much energy we waste fighting things that are already finished. The spilled coffee is already spilled. The word is already said. The moment is already gone. Fighting it is like boxing with a ghost. You exhaust yourself, and you never land a punch. But when you pause, when you breathe, when you ask that simple question, something shifts. You realize that your suffering isn't coming from the event. It's coming from your fight with the event. And once you see that, you can stop fighting. You can put down the burden. You can breathe again. The second practice is to look for the gift. I'm not asking you to be grateful for pain. I'm asking you to be curious about what pain might teach you. Every difficulty is a teacher. Every obstacle shows you something about yourself. Every closed door points you toward a window you hadn't noticed. Let me give you an example from my own life. Years ago, I lost something very important to me. A job I loved. A position I had worked years to achieve. I was devastated. I spent weeks angry, bitter, asking why this had happened to me. But then, slowly, I started to notice things. Without that job, I had time I had never had before. Time with my family. Time to read. Time to think. I started writing, something I had always wanted to do but never had time for. That writing led to opportunities one never could have imagined. The loss was real. The pain was real. But the gift was also real. And if I had stayed stuck in my anger, I would have missed it completely. So here's what I want you to try. When something difficult happens, ask yourself, what is this teaching me? What am I learning? How am I growing? The answers might surprise you. The third practice is to start with small things. Don't wait for a tragedy to practice this. Start with the small annoyances. The slow internet. The long line at the grocery store. The person who cuts you off in traffic. If you can learn to love the small frustrations, you'll be ready for the big ones. It's like building a muscle. You don't start by lifting 300 pounds. You start with what you can handle, and you gradually get stronger. Today, right now, you have an opportunity. Something small will go wrong. It always does. The question is, what will you do with it? Will you react automatically, with anger and frustration? Or will you pause, breathe, and see what's really there? This is how you build the Stoic mind. Not through grand philosophical debates, not through reading ancient texts alone, but through practice. Through daily, moment-by-moment practice. The Stoic Emperor Marcus Aurelius wrote something beautiful in his private journal. He said, "The universe is change. Life is opinion. Change is happening constantly. That's just the nature of things. But your opinion, your judgment about that change, that belongs to you. No one can take it. No circumstance can touch it." There's a phrase I repeat to myself almost every day. I learned it from the Stoics, but it's become my personal mantra. I say, I don't control what happens to me. I only control how I respond. This isn't resignation, it's liberation. Because if you truly believe that, then nothing can ever defeat you. You can lose your money, but not your peace. You can lose your health, but not your dignity. You can lose everything the world counts as valuable, and still walk through life with your head held high. So here's my invitation to you. For the next 24 hours, experiment. When something happens that you wish hadn't, pause. Breathe. And instead of saying, "Why me?" say, "Show me. Show me what this has to teach. Show me the gift hidden inside. Show me how to grow through this rather than just go through it." Life will keep happening. Storms will keep coming. But you can become the kind of person who stands firm in any weather. And if you can do that, if you can learn to love whatever comes, then you haven't just survived life. You've mastered the art of living it. If this series resonated with you, if it made you think differently even for a moment, then subscribe to this channel. Not because I need the numbers, but because you need the reminder. We are in this together. We are building a community of people who control their minds, rather than being controlled by the world. Thank you for spending this time with me. Until next time, remember, the life you're living right now, with all its mess, all its beauty, all its unexpected twists, is the only life you'll ever have. Don't fight it. Live it. Love it. It's yours.